Hi, I'm Brandon from Nameless Improv Comedy. We'll be performing at TatsuCon the last weekend in July, again this year. I really like a lot of the videos where people such as Evil Ted, Punish Props, Adam Savage will show you how to create something, how they went about making these amazing props. I'm not them. I'm Cosplay Trash. So I want to show you how I get around that and make some props without proper equipment to, say, cut out the foam or any of that sort of thing. Or, even proper equipment to make this video. And you can, laugh along with me in my trials and tribulations as I try to make some prizes to give away at our show. And if there are prizes or not depends on how badly I fail. But first things first, I'm not dressed to make anything. Let's change that. There! Now I have glasses on. I can see. Keep my receding hairline out of any projects. My hair is long enough that I can keep it out of the way by tucking it under my shirt. And I don't care about these clothing, so I can ruin it. Let's get to making something. Alright, some general workspace stuff. You're going to want a space that can withstand your tragic errors. You want probably some protection for whatever surface you're on, some disposable protection. You don't need a mat like this. You can use Monopoly boards or any other game boards or just cardboard. It works rather nicely for a lot of things. You want someplace with good light, but also remember you'll want to look at what you're doing in other lighting conditions because you're not going to be in good light all the time. I like to have some inspiration going, so because it can take a long time to create anything, I'll listen to anime, I'll watch anime that I've already watched so I'm not distracted by it, or to get the mood to create something, I'll put on Lindsay Sterling, or because a lot of the things I create are weapon props, I have Scholar Gladiatoria running. Again, only episodes I've already seen, so I'm not distracted. And I'll have my sketch notebook, which is always in my pocket, take out and look at a few things while I'm going. But I don't know where my stuff is. I just set up this space, so I'm going to forget a lot of things. So we'll move quickly on. Jump cut. And some of the basic safety equipment you will need when you're doing stuff like this. Even if you're poor, like me, you still need to have some basic safety equipment. The most basic of basics, goggles. These ones are actually made for chemistry students for the lab settings, but they have really good ventilation. And of course, that means my glasses still fog up and I can't see anything when I'm using them, but that's going to happen regardless. When you're working with EVA foam, sanding it, or using a Dremel on it, EVA dust is nasty, nasty stuff to breathe in, so don't breathe it in. You can either, A, find a way to metabolize oxygen without intaking air, or B, get a dust mask. They are dirt cheap. I think this is like a 3-pack for $4 or something stupid like that. And if you're going to work with things such as Plastidip, and we will, because I don't know any other ways, I don't have access to latex, you need a respirator. And make sure it fits your face. This one's too small for me, so when I'm wearing this one and doing anything, we'll have to rely on voiceover because I can't talk and safely wear this one on my giant freakish face. Oh, yeah. Nitrile exam gloves. Really handy for not getting stuff to stick to you or burn through your hands or infiltrate your bloodstream and become a parasite. Well, I've already made some major mistakes. That means my projects have to be scaled back. I think this happens a lot. I bite off more than I can chew, start really ambitious, and start paring it back or even putting it on hold. I'm still going to do Thor. I will still do a Thor cosplay sometime.
I spent so
so many hours working on you. Breastplate has like 30 hours in it. It just decided to fail at the last minute after I carved out all these little details. And Yolner, you delaminated, but Cloak, you turned out so good. It's so hard to sew you. You have like 10 hours of hand sewing into you, but I want to use you for something. And what I was originally going to do was something along the lines of this, which I made to practice making cosplay props. What I did was I took one of my designs for a modern sword, and yes, I am that kind of history geek sword nerd who designs his own swords based off of historical trends and contexts. And for one, I wanted to see the proportions and how it felt and get some things wrapped around my head that didn't quite come out in the drawings. And to make a lot of mistakes. See, if I figured if I did it really fast, I would make a bunch of mistakes and then really internalize the learning process, because I would know what I need to take more time on, such as getting the painting right and what I could do. And so I figured make a few props really fast. As it turns out, a lot of people really liked this sword. It felt really good in the hand. It looks more cool in person than it does in my crappy lighting here. It's got kind of a titanium look. It's not really completely black. And I figured I'd make something like this for my friend, because he really liked this. Unfortunately, in cutting out all these little things, I didn't keep the razor blade as sharp, even though it took me hours to do this template, and, well, a hour, a viewing of The Princess Bride. And then to transfer onto here and cut it, when I started to try to clean up the edges with the Dremel, it just started to either bite or not clean up at all. So I could still work with this. I can still make this a usable prop eventually. And I kind of don't want to risk not having gifts to give away to you guys. So this still might turn out to be part of a secret gift. So instead, I moved on to a different design, something simpler, something I knew I could almost definitely make in time. And it's essentially a cutlass or machete. I have a very simple bulged handle here. I drew this on a cereal box. And I incorporated some things I usually don't do. This isn't really my type of design. It's got a Yellman on the back of it, or a feather, to get weight toward the end. And I'm going to sword geek things again, and I'm very sorry for that. But I put it on floor mat, traced the design out. I used a pin, well, 2 pins, to keep it still. Traced one side, flipped, traced the other side. Cut them out with the razor blade, sharpening as I went, and that is the secret to getting clean lines, is having a really sharp blade, really steady hand, and really good eye. I have none of those. Well, I have a fairly sharp blade. And then what I would do is I would cut 2 V's in along a straight line and pull out all the little pieces and then make it wider. And as you can see, it's not very even. And that is to put in my reinforcing. Something this long is going to be pretty floppy. So you want something light and stiff to reinforce it so it doesn't flop around everywhere. But you also want something safe. This is fiberglass rod from Walmart or Home Depot or yard sale. I can't remember where the hell I got this. But it's a driveway marker or a construction marker that I've cut. I cut it with a hacksaw and then put a piece of duct tape around the end so I didn't keep getting slivers from the fiberglass, which drive you insane. They itch so bad. But the duct tape helps cut down on that. It also helps when you actually have them to pull them out. The nitrile gloves can help with that too. Well, not pulling them out, not getting them in the first place. So cutting this channel in, I'm going to use DAP to glue the rod in, and then glue these pieces together. And that will make it more rigid. It'll feel better in the hand. A lot of times, I will in fact put 2 rods down at the end, simply because most of the time I make much larger, longer props, and having 2 rods that transition into 1, or even 3 rods that transition into 1, will give you the stiffness without giving the floppiness, and it'll feel better in the hand. It'll feel more like a handle. And that can help when you're cosplaying to feel. You want to feel like the person you're cosplaying. You want to be Thor. I want to be Thor. Wait, I mean... Prizes. So, this is one of the materials you can use. I will also use hanging wire. And that's what the end of this one is. It is not coat hanger wire, although it's incredibly similar. It is basically steel wire used to hang stuff on a wall. Big pictures, stuff like that. You can get it in bundles at hardware stores and cut it down and bend it. And I have an anvil, I work hard in it, which means I snap it until it stops being so flexible. You can also use copper wire for this, although I usually use that for jewelry, not for this sort of thing. The steel wire is stronger. Use a mandrel or a pair of pliers or these round nose pliers to bend a loop in one end and then loop in the other end, because what you don't want is some jackass to say, hey, that's a really nice prop, let me see it, stab, and then the wire go through them, or you, or a celebrity guest. You don't want that happening, so you put these 2 loops in each end. The benefit of the wire is it's a lot thinner, so you don't have to cut a deep channel in like this. But it does get more floppy. So it's really more just for short things, or for, like I did here, when I was going to make a more of a pistol gripped handle for the other prop I was making. It gives you that angle, but still feels good. You can also use, well... It's kind of funny. Golf club that I've cut the head off of. This one's carbon fiber. I haven't made anything yet, but this is going to be fun. Wait, I'm getting off topic. We're going to make you guys a cool-ass little cutlass.